Hey guys, welcome to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So today we're back with a Jhin supplementary guide, and today we're going to be talking about rushing Bloodthirster on Jhin instead of getting Collector, right? So I'm first going to go through the loadout, and then we'll talk a little bit more about it in the gameplay section. But first we're going to start off with the Boots of Dynamism for that early armor pen. Now Jhin is a very strong laning early game champion, so you want to get that early damage in by going for the armor pen. And then, as I mentioned, of course, we're going to swap out the Collector for Bloodthirster. And Bloodthirster, of course, gives us that huge amount of AD, the Lifeline Shield, as well as a lot of physical Vamp. And then we go for Blaster. Blaster, of course, gives you the bonus range, burst damage, all of the good stuff. Then your usual combo of IE for bonus crit damage, as well as Molar Reminder for Armor Pen and Grievous Wounds. And last item, you normally want to go for something defensive, such as a Maw or a GA. For the runes, we go for Fleet. Fleet, of course, gives you that bonus movement speed and healing. And then we don't go for a standard ADC loadout, but for the first option, you could go for either one of the three, because Jhin doesn't really work that well with Brutal because he doesn't auto-attack that much. But at the same time, Triumph is not that good, and Gathering Storm is kind of meh rune, especially for AD champions. It does give you some AD, but not a lot, so it's really a free choice. Of course, Giant Slayer is pretty standard, and here I like to go for Bloodline instead of Alacrity. Since Jhin cannot actually gain attack speed, I rather just go for the Life Steal. Now, I know a lot of players like to go for the Alacrity here, because you can convert that into AD, but I think the conversion is pretty horrible, so I like to go for the healing. And finally, of course, your Bone Plating for the defensive capabilities. Now, for your spells, you want to go for Flash together with Cleanse if you need it. Otherwise, Ghost is amazing on Jhin. Of course, Barrier and Exhaust are options as well. But with that said, let's talk about the gameplay itself. Okay, so let's look at our gameplay, right? So needless to say, the first thing we want to be talking about is gonna be Bloodthirster or Collector, right? And the simple answer to that question is, I think Collector is better than Bloodthirster, right? And Bloodthirster is such an OP item. I think this is one of the rare cases where you do want to not go for Bloodthirster on Jhin. And the reason why I think that's the case is, although Bloodthirster does give you a lot of AD and that extra safety, I think on Jhin, just the pure damage that the lethality gives you is a lot more important. Right, so now I know a fight's gonna break out here, so let's talk about it soon, right? So our ASO is getting collapsed on by 3 people, but however, we are now counter collapsing. We get stunned by Zilean at level 1. Soraka's taking a lot of damage. However, I'm not taking any damage and I'm just running them down, right? So here I get the first blood onto Ashe. Now Zilean is now forced to basically chase down Soraka as Amumu is in a 1v1 with Lee Sin under tower, and he kills Lee Sin, and here I kill the Zilean, and it's a very messy early game with Lee Sin and Amumu trading kills 1 for 1, and of course me getting a double kill onto the bot lane. And yeah, off of that, the lead we have against them now is huge, right? So really good start to the game. So as I was discussing with the build earlier, basically I think that lethality is just better, right? Because Jhin just wants pure damage. You want to be able to, not exactly one shot, but you want to be able to burst someone down as quickly as possible. So the most logical thing to build for that is Boots of Lethality, and then into Collector, and then into, of course, the Blaster for that bonus range and burst damage as well, and then into IE and into more reminders. So there isn't really a place to fit in BT unless you go for it as a 5th item in Jin's build. You don't really want to swap out, Blaster for it, for example. And here in this game, I'm swapping out Collector for it, but after kind of testing it out, I did feel that lethality is better. Now, of course, this game is a little bit skewed because we got a double kill on level 1, so we will be just generally more far ahead than a typical game, just because of those early kills that we got. So we will be a little bit ahead of the curve in general. And we will be doing quite a bit of damage as a result. But we'll kind of see as the game goes, as we get a 4th shot onto Zilean. And here we let them push us in, because now that puts them in a more vulnerable position. Of course, Amumu is on the wrong side of the map, so they wouldn't be getting ganked anyway. But so that we don't get ganked, we make sure our river bush is warded. We put down the Jhin traps just to slow down the Lee Sin if he comes in for a gank. Lee Sin really popular champion nowadays, especially after he got those round of buffs. Everyone is playing Lee Sin. But there aren't that many good Lee Sin players that I have encountered personally, though, so generally not a very huge problem. So now, honestly, not much to really talk about here. Like, we're just farming the wave, and then we're just backing and getting items, and nothing too creative or mind blowing is really happening here. So what I will say is that I think that Jhin is not good into teams that are tanky, right? He doesn't really do a lot of damage to tanks, or not as much as other ADCs could anyway, right? So he loves playing into a team of squishies, and in this case we pretty much have a team of squishies on the enemy team except the set. Now of course it's really rare that you will have 5 squishies on the enemy team. Normally there's at least 1 fighter or 1 tank, as Amumu is getting into a little bit of a skirmish in the jungle and we're trying to back him up. So yeah, in general, you will never really have that kind of dream scenario. So this is pretty much the best scenario you can get already. I pretty much only pick Jhin when I'm playing into squishies because there's no real reason to pick him into tanks when there's so many better options. And here we managed to shove them under tower, and now we're, you know, just blasting on their tower, taking a plate. Lee Sin now coming, though we can see him on the vision. So we know not to play overly aggressive and be aware of his presence. The ward, however, is now gone, so we can't actually see if he's there anymore. Now I think he's likely going to be farming the Krugs. And here we make sure that they don't get off the reset that they wanted, and they're in a way weaker state than us. Now here, unfortunately, Set comes in for a gank onto Soraka, and Soraka flashes the wall, silences the Set, and here Lee Sin unfortunately comes over the wall and picks up a kill. We're getting 4-man ganked here. Now Asol is attempting to help, but he's really not helping. I think he's just going to donate another free kill. In the meantime, I'm free firing onto them, but I can't really kill anybody in this 2v4 situation, so I'm going to have to, of course, just back off. Good news is that somehow I was not focused whatsoever, so I don't waste any of my summoner spells or anything like that. I also am able to pick up the Bloodthirster on base, and Zilean and Ashe decides to, instead of reset, they decide to go for plates in the last couple of seconds that plates exist. Now Set is now here, still trying to cause some havoc on the back line. We are going to be able to get the kill on him though, so he goes down.
The enchanted ensemble and ice dragon have spawned.
And next up we go for the dragon. Lee Sin obviously is on vision in the mid lane, so we know he's not going to be stealing this dragon. In fact, I secure it with the 4-shot. And the next fight is going to be at Herald, right? So now my team is now going to Herald. Meanwhile, I'm just going to start whacking this top lane tower, because if the enemy team gets distracted and goes to Herald, I'm going to get a tower for free, which technically Herald is meant to get you like a tower anyway. So by just getting this tower myself, it's pretty much better than the Herald. So I get even more gold just from getting the tower itself. Unfortunately though, my team is kind of dying in the mid lane. There goes Amumu. And now we're making our way over to help our team. Right, so something else you will note is Ezreal is really fed. He's 2-0, which is the same scoreline as me, but he has much more gold than me. So yeah, there is that. As I pop the ult to snipe out the Varus. And now I'm starting to build towards the Magnetic Blaster. So my whole team in general is pretty fair. We actually have an 8k gold lead against the enemy team right now, so we're definitely doing very well. In fact, on the enemy team, the only person who's remotely doing well is the Sin in terms of his KDA. But you can see that despite him being 3-1, Ashe actually has more gold than him by like 500. And we've seen Ashe, what she's like in the lane already. So the enemy team is in pretty dire straits, if I do say so myself. Set here gets rooted by me, and there's not much he can do here. He ults me, and I I actually get hit by the true damage portion of his ulti, but it somehow doesn't really even do damage. That's pretty strange. Soraka ends up getting the kill onto the set. And slowly but surely we end up tearing through his health bar. None of his teammates even try to help him, and we pretty much get a free kill onto him. Herald now gets popped to go for the tier 2 tower. We know Lee Sin and someone else is rotating to around this area, but we're able to get the tower. And now we're trying to go walk forward to threaten the Ashe. The mini fight is kind of breaking out here. I don't really like it. So I'm going to walk back. I'm going to pop the ult and just lay down some cover fire for my team. Varus is trying to work around that, but ends up walking in away from safety, and as a result gets chain CC'd by myself and Amumu. And here Sett has the Zilean ult on, so we don't want to kill him to proc the Zilean ult. There we go. We let the Zilean ult run out, then we flash forward to finish the kill. Zilean and Ashe now have to run for the hills. And we're pretty much just able to pick up a couple more kills and get ourselves even more fed. So we have the blaster completion. Soraka has the completion of the harmonic echo. Of course, very, very strong support item. And here, unfortunately, Amumu overstays. I mean, we've already gotten the tower, we've already gotten what we wanted for, but Amumu decides to greed over some minions, I believe, and ends up paying the price for it, with the whole enemy team collapsing onto him, coming out of their base. So now, thankfully, there's no objectives up at the moment. We're just going to continue on farming, taking all of those minions there in the mid lane. Enemy team is once again picking a fight with my team, so I am going to pop the ult and see if I can get anybody. I actually get the snipe onto Sett, but no one else is within my range anymore, so I'm going to cancel the ult and just start walking there manually. Try to get the root onto Zilean, but it didn't actually hit. So now, instead of wasting any time, I'm just going to go to the mid lane and try to pick up this mid lane tower. In the meantime, Varus gets an objective bounty by taking the top lane tower. And here there's only only Ashe to defend, and she obviously cannot be defending against me, so I'm just going to quickly grab that mid lane tower as well. So we've gotten all the tier 2 towers now. My team now 12k gold ahead, in a very dominant position. And here I'm going to grab the red buff and reset to get the IE components, and then we're gonna take the gate. Maybe no, we're not actually, because dragon was spawning, so initially I thought we're gonna fight there, but a fight actually breaks out in the blue buff area instead, right? So my team is getting to a fight there. I'm rushing there. My ulti is almost up if I need it, then I'm running all the way there, see if I can reach to help out. Lee Sin dies. Sett is now on the run. I'm seeing if I can chase the Sett, but he already dies to ASO, so I basically end up walking there and doing nothing. Right? Essentially, I came to the fight, but I didn't actually contribute anything. I just walked around in circles. Not literally, but yeah. So here I'm pinging to do Baron because we have Lee Sin and Sett dead, and with Dragon up, the enemy team is gonna probably suspect we're doing Dragon, but I mean, Ezreal is doing Dragon, but we are gonna go for Baron instead, which is definitely more important. Ezreal secures the Dragon, and Baron is still completely uncontested by the enemy team, and we are able to secure it right as Amumu shows up for work. So now we have our third item, the IE, completed. Of course, that's yet another major power spike, and we're just gonna to just farm a little bit. Now here we have a very far overextension by Ezreal. Now I honestly thought Ezreal would have been dead here, but Soraka pops the ulti to save him, and then we realize that Ezreal is just getting run down, but he's not actually dying. He actually kites out the Lee Sin and goes unstoppable. So unfortunately for Sett, he flashes, but he's still within my range, so I just have to walk over and auto attack him once, and he ends up going down. Now Ezreal is able to then reset, go all the way back to base and get his health. So enemy team doesn't end up getting anything except 2 dead members on their team, which is pretty unfortunate for them. And now we're going to be knocking on the doors of the Nexus by destroying this inhib, or hopefully destroying this inhib. I think we're going to get it because they can't really stop us from doing so. So we get the inhib, and now I'm just ulting to see if I can get out some snipes. I'm going to land the shots onto Sett. Sett has a full stacked W, but once again, it doesn't actually do that much damage, right? I did take the center of it, which is pretty bad, but I didn't actually take all that much damage from it, which is pretty funny. Now all 3 inhibs are down, and now we're starting to whack the enemy nexus itself. And here is where you want to be very careful. It's very easy to kind of get too overconfident and then get completely destroyed by the enemy team, which is semi what's happening now, but I end up going legendary here by 4-shotting the set. Now I'm going to walk away because my team is now resetting pretty boldly in the enemy base. But yeah, they're now resetting, so on the way out, I'm actually going to deny the enemy jungle, farming the wolves. And here we can see Lee Sin on the way, but we do secure the blue buff, and then we're able to escape right after. So whilst my team is resetting, I'm just continuing on to farm because I want to farm to get Mole Reminder, and then hopefully reset for Mole Reminder. But as you can see, like, we've already gotten all 3 inhibs. Really hard for the enemy team to defend here. Unfortunately, my ult is not going to actually hit anybody.
Killing spree.
ASO going on a killing spree, and enemy team is all kind of just dying.
Godlike.
And we probably can end the game here, right? Only Varus and Zilean are left. Varus is cut off from even going back to base, and Amumu is kind of running him down. And Ezreal kills Zilean on the base itself, and then Varus once again finally gets back home but can't defend, so we're going to pick up the win here. So I'm going to leave you guys with the stats as usual. Thank you guys so much for watching, and goodbye.